here it is. I'm finally doing this. This is going to be an extremely long video, so be prepared for this. This is the tutorial for this abomination of a 7x7 door. So yeah, this 7x7 is 598 blocks, and I'm doing a tutorial, as you can see here. Now you can probably see what this is. This is, well, you'll know what this is after. I'm not going to show the opening and closing because it just takes too long. I'll show it at the end of the video. But just be prepared for lots of Minecart placements and in-depth explanations for how this thing works. So yeah, let's actually get right into it. So this is what you need. You need a 13 by 2 by 23 area. Your door frame is centered in length, so you have 2 blocks sticking out from this side, 2 blocks from this side. Your door, so like where you're walking, so your floor is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you dig 7 blocks from underneath your floor, so including your floor is 8, that's where your floor is. So let's get into the resources for how to build this thing. Start with this chest. So this is pretty basic stuff. You need, what is this, 94 observers. You need 92 building blocks. Some of these will be used, 47 of these, 49 will be used in the actual door. 55 stickies, 25 pistons, 36 dust, 13 repeaters, 6 comparators, 4 milk blocks, 2 wrestling blocks, 3 torches, 8 obsidian or any solid immovable block, 4 nether brick fences, and 4 regular fences. This could technically be a cobblestone wall, I think. These nether brick fences, but I just prefer them because they don't connect to oak fences. Like if I just grab this and I grab this, you'll see that they don't connect like this or like this. 4 slabs, 1 iron trapdoor, a transparent movable block. So I'm just gonna use an ender chest. You can use a beacon, you can use a trap chest, or an end portal frame, which is not really that, like, it's annoying, but fun. Levers your input, and these are the building blocks. You probably need about, like, a stack of building blocks, really. It's just a good enough to have. It's not really a stack, but it's just a good enough. You need 1 pink stained glass, this is used in the tape, 1 yellow stained glass, and 1 gray stained glass. These are panes, this is a block. These will be used in the piston tapes under for the bottom. That's the easy chest. This is the slightly harder chest. So you have 31 droppers, 26 hoppers, 2 cauldrons, so you don't need any water for these. These are just for shooting the eggs into. And now in 1.17, I believe you can make those lava cauldrons so that they just destroy the egg from existence. 1 composter. This composter is used in the tape here because it cannot be a cauldron because of hitboxes for composters. 1 cobweb, 8 soul sand. This could technically be 7, I think, but just stick with 8. 3 gold or iron pressure plates. I'm just going to use iron for now on for all my builds because I just think they look better. 1 hay bale, it's a straw bale, but it's hay bale. And 1 campfire. You're going to put this out, so you just need like a shovel. These are the items you need, and this is it simplified. So you need 3 stacks and 2 items. And then you need a baby zombie 5 piglin and a minecart for it, a witch and a minecart for it, 25 chicken, and a singular minecart for 1 chicken, because you can see here are the chickens. You need bones to tame a wolf. You need an endermite now and a boat. Now you're probably wondering where the endermite comes in, and I will explain that. Why we do this? Madness. And then a boat. And then you're probably guessing what's in this chest. Yay. So these are all the other entities in the door. So you need 10 chest minecarts, 27 hopper minecarts. and 15 furnace carts, and 1 armor stand. So it just happens to fill the last slot in this chest. And there's no unstackable items in the store. So, yeah. So, I'm gonna say 2 things before we do this. One is an extra warning. If you just want to know how the door works, you can listen to the whole video, but this video will be probably an estimated 2 to 3 hours. Maybe an hour, I don't know. Because I'm going to try to explain how this entire door works. And another thing, this door is not directional or locational, but if you're building it in a direction, so if your door frame like this faces west or east, the door is much easier for you to build. If you're facing north or south, you can still build it. It's just the fact that when you're pushing in carts, facing north or south, your carts will be like this. You need to have them like, so you can just roll it into a block like that. Because otherwise, something like this won't work. So let's actually get into building. Let's start with the layout. So at the bottom of the door, you're going to place 7 regular pistons like this, and 7 stickies. Come on. There we go. This will push up pretty much all the locks in the door except for 1 that will be done by the top. And this like that. On the top, actually, let's do the sides. So on this side here, we're going to have a piston there and a piston there. And on this side, we're going to have a piston here with a block, and then this. In particular, on this side, we're going to have an observer and a regular piston. So both observers face this way, so the opposite direction or towards this piston. And then on this side, there's nothing. On the bottom, we're going to have a piston here and a piston there. And then on this side, we're going to have a stinky piston here and then a regular piston here. And then we're going to have a piston with another observer. So we're going to have a piston there. We're going to have an observer facing this way. And this will, sticky piston. And this will grab down the blocks at this point here. Now we're going to need some removable blocks in some places. So, for example, 1 will be needed here, but it will actually be a hopper for later. As you can see there. You're going to need 1 under here. So just place an observer with this. You're going to need, and then these are just the rest. So these are the only 5 removable blocks you need in the door. Then there's this one here as well. And just for fun, just placing a block under here. So these are the bases of the tapes and how it makes the top much easier and how the bottom works basically. And now let's get to the top. So the top, you're going to place 5 pistons. So this is a quintuple extender. Well, yep. Because I would technically call this a sextuple because the point that a sextuple extender would push down to is here. So this is a quint/sextuple extender. And then there's a piston tape on the top. So we have this piston here. And this circuit was not designed by me. This tape system was designed by Hi, Koan, and Ralph. So that's the basis of the tape. You're gonna get your nether brick fences out, or your cobblestone wall, and your observer. So you're gonna place these 2 here, observer facing down. And on the other side, we're gonna place this pink block up here, and then just gonna grab a hay bale or a composter. I forgot to mention that you need to be able to fill the composter with something. Now I do forget which way this is facing. This is facing Sorry, just forgot about that. So this faces in this direction. You need a composter, and then you only need to fill it up by 1. So you need 1 pie, and then you need your hay/straw facing outwards. So that is the tape for the top. Now let's get into the inputs. So dust and wool. So we're gonna have dust here, wool there, and here. There are no updater pistons except for 1. The only updater piston that's needed is this one here. And then there's going to be a hopper here on this side to prevent this from pushing over. Now, yeah, so there's a hopper there preventing it from pushing over. I think it can be an obsidian, I'm not too sure. No, it can't, sorry. And then there's this here and this. And then just place a slime block. On the top, we're just going to have this. Now, this will be different later, but yep, got this. This will be much different. And then on the bottom, which is technically part of bottom clothesline, I'm not going to do that. So this is the layout. And now let's get into, well, the input circuit. So the input is located. So you're going to go here, here. So you're going to go 3 blocks over and then 1 up. Lever. Make sure that's correct. No, sorry. Goes there. So that's your input. You're going to have a torch here. And then you're going to have a sticky piston there. This is going to power this input. So be on the opening. So what's going to happen when you flip the lever? I'll just show you. This will power this block, butting this. This torch will then turn off. So if this is butting this, this will then just stay on. But then when you unbutt it, the lever updating the piston causes it to retract. Then the torch turning back on after 1 tick will re-extend it. And you can see you get a pulse like that. So that's just how the opening gets its first pulse. You're gonna have a hopper timer, hopper clock, timer here, and then yeah. So we're not gonna do the items now, but we'll do it later. We're gonna have a dropper under here, and then we're gonna have a dropper here. So when you flip the lever, this dropper, if you look in F3, you can see on the far right it says triggered pulse. When this piston first extends, it's going to update this, powering it, sending an egg, which comes from this hopper, through this thing for the bottom. And then when you just stay like this. Then when you open it, this torch will power this dropper, sending an egg, which comes from this hopper. And this is still triggered true, but during extensions and stuff, it will get triggered false, resetting that. So that's pretty much the input circuit, other than the chickens and that and this. But yeah, we'll do the chickens last. But first, before we build anything else, just to make our lives a little bit easier, we're actually going to build the what's it called? We're going to build the tapes before we build everything else, because I don't want to get to this thing yet. So let's build the bottom tapes first. So to start, we're going to have a dropper here, and then a hopper here. We're going to have a slab with a comparator on top. Powers this yellow block, and then this repeater on 2 ticks. I think it's on 2 at least. It's on 1. So this system is the exact same as it was in the 6x6 FMLCL. Now this system was, so the idea of having droppers like this with a comparator, or just an idea of a system clocking like this, was my idea, but in the end, I never actually made a working system. It was just proof of concept that just ended up making it through the end. So I am the designer of this system. It's just I never actually made it work. So when this comparator turns on, it will power this. Updating this. So when this is extended, it will power this, but it can't because the immovable piston head. Then when it retracts, it will power this, cycling one set of blocks, as you can see here. So it's a very simple circuit, and it will keep clocking until it runs out of items, and we'll do the items in a second. Now, that's the right side. The left side uses the glass pane here. So when a block gets pushed across, use a glass pane with observer, a dust, a hopper, and I don't remember how this part goes. Okay, just making sure, because, yeah. So this will go down, this will also go down. We're going to get two blocks like this, and then this. So this entire yellow tape in this particular door was technically designed by me. So this side here is trivial, so it can be done really easily. So this idea with having this delay here, besides this, was from the 7x7 up from Lucia, but then I had to add this because of something that I don't remember. So this actually does the yellow tape, so if you just put blocks in here, and then just remove this and this for now, then you get some yellow items, 28 to be exact, and you place them in here, and then, well, we actually have to do a minecart before we actually do this, so crap. Okay, so before we continue, we need to do a quick minecart. So to do this minecart, we need to basically roll it in into this hopper and then push it across, because then the shadow of the minecart would be showing in the door. But we can't just roll it in like this, because then it's impossible to move. We need to roll it something like that, I think. Might take a little bit of attempts, but I got it first try. Okay, so this just makes it so that, what's it called? This just makes it so that, there's no entity shadow in the door, and then you can just push that in. And then this just stays stuck like this. So if an item were to go inside this hopper, it would go into that dropper there. And next we can push this block back in. So make sure it's a sticky piston with a 0 tip. And I forgot to mention one thing. In the description, I will write all the different things you need to push minecarts into, like fences and cobblestone walls, etc. So that will be in the description, if I remember to do that. Otherwise, you can just comment to put in the description. It's not what I wanted. Okay, so just remove the snow block for now. Push this in. Not push. Put this in. Put this in. Okay, so now that we have the entity in, the 28 items, if we get an egg and put it in this hopper, actually it comes from above once we actually put this one tick feeder in. So don't remove these items, place the one tick, and then place this. If we place an item like an egg, I'm not sure if it's going to work because it does receive the M from above. Smart. Well, that worked. Okay, so let's just wait for it to end before we continue. Okay, so So just remove this and this. Yeah, so that failed because of stuff. So to fix that, just place a just place a just place a hopper minecart here, and push this in, and place a repeater, and then another hopper minecart, and we'll just do it like this instead. Okay, so we grab our egg, and then our 28 yellow blocks. Oh, it's the weirdest way just to organize items. So this should actually work properly. So we just place an egg in there. I forgot the note block. See, if you're dumb like me, then you're gonna forget stuff, obviously. So place this, and place the note block. Now this should work. So you're gonna see that it pushes all the blocks on while moving. Now the blocks do juggle, like they switch positions in the door, but that's not a problem. So you can see that the blocks go all the way down to here, and you can see it failed because we need an immovable block there, right? It's actually a dropper. So in the meantime, it's supposed to drop it. So yeah, this technically would have succeeded. So just place that. So, and then these blocks will get retracted back into the top. Now for the bottom tape, what we're going to actually do, save this for later. So, yeah. So this yellow tape way works, very simple. When the egg comes through, it goes into this hopper, turn the comparator on, powering this block, powering this, pushing it across, and then powering this. The glass pane then changes shape like this, powering this dust, powering this. Then after delay through here, and with this, giving this piston specifically a 2-tick, because this will be on when this is on, and then as this starts turning off, this turns back on, keeping this on for another tick. And that will go to here, and because this comparator gives double pulses, it can go over a numerous amount of times, and multiple items then get sent through at once. Therefore, kind of, well, cycling. And then this thing will be used to put the egg from that dropper there down here, and that will be a hopper there. So that is the yellow tape, and now it's the pink tape. So pink tape was, I'm just going to do a little reminder, pink tape was designed by Hi, Kowan, and Ralph. So we have service here. So when this gets pushed across, it will power this by this changing shape like this. Then then what happens after that is something like this. No, I'm dumb. You get a regular fence here. So when it gets pushed down, a solid block moving next to it will do that. And then we place this, and then a dust there. So if we do this, you're going to see that piston powers, but when there's another brick fence next to it, you see it doesn't power. So if there's a block, it powers, but if there's another brick fence, it doesn't. So this side's quite simple. This side is really annoying. And you just heard that, and that is why. So, we're going to use this nether brick fence, because that's what we're detecting over here, to power this dust. That will power this piston, but it doesn't matter. But it will power this piston. Now we're going to need an ender chest. So it's going to power this piston, because we're going to use an armor stand here as our second entity in the door. Because this piston requires a long pulse, because otherwise the tape will fail. And it's around a 3 or 4 tick pulse, and it just happens to be perfect with this, and it's perfectly reliable. So when a block comes into here, you're going to see that's a long pulse. And then to do this, we're just going to place 3 observers. So this does the tape. Now, the tape I can show you by doing something like this. So this will cycle blocks through here. So if we power this piston, like, also one more thing, during retraction in the door, we're going to need a 4-tick here and a slab here. This is just to fix this piston in this position, because the observer derps it and fails it. So if we power the tape by powering this piston, you're going to see the tape goes around, powering these pistons with this observer. Now you're going to realize that this composter seems useless, because you're going to see it's going around. These would then get pulled up by the a small little circuit in there using that composter, so it would get pulled up, and it keeps going around until the nether brick fences come. So you're going to see that you're probably thinking that this nether brick fence in specific moved, but it's still sent an update to this piston, and that is because this block moved, and that changes the shape of this. So therefore it got another pulse, but then it got moved down with this nether brick fence. And the reason why this cannot be the reason why this must be a nether brick fence, because if this was a block, it would cycle an extra one, which would obviously move this block to here and fill it, and then this gets retracted up. So that small little circuit is a part of purple, which I guess we can just do now, it's right here. So it's a very small circuit, so we get purple here with a comparator. This goes into this. I just messed that up, and that is a 1-tick. So you're going to see that this should technically be here. So you're going to see when the composter comes, it's going to get pulled up like that. And then this person derped a lot, but that's not an issue. And also, because this observer is here powering this piston, it kind of does some updating with this to make it so it works. And then using a campfire here and a shovel like that, that's how we get the output to do the opening. This could technically be a log and a leaf, but that's uncontained. So yeah, and just to show that the blocks actually work properly, we're going to retract them upwards, because extension doesn't really matter, it's mostly just the retraction. And you can see that this gets a long pulse from that armor stand. And the reason why is because this observer, when this pushes, powers this note block, which is solid, which powers the pistons here. Now, this must be a solid block for some reason, and I don't remember why, but you're going to see that this got retracted upwards. I think it's actually going to fail because it was in the wrong state or something. Nope. And then there, and then that hay bale will then do the retraction. So yeah, that is the pink tape, and it is a very simple circuit, and it gets powered from the it gets powered from a circuit in here during what's it called, purple. So yeah, that is that, and now we can actually get into this. So what this thing is well, it is a giant it's a giant dropper chain. Well, not dropper chain, hopper. It's a giant cart chain. So just place the dropper here for now, and then a hopper. Doesn't matter if those go. So during the closing, we need to get to the bottom, but we can only do it at the right time because just like the FMLCL 6x6, the top powered first, which means the bottom has to have some sort of delay before it powers. Same thing in this case. Now, in the actual record for 7x7 FMLCL, which is tied with this, the one that came, basically the one that came before this, their top just had the lever was in a different place, allowing them to just extend these, meaning that the bottom could just power instantly and didn't have to wait. But in my case, because I wanted to do something a little bit different, I did it like this. Therefore, the bottom needs a delay. Now, the way we get that delay is that we just send an item from this dropper into this hopper, and we just release it at the right time. So this is downwards, I believe. Nope, this is a clip because there will be a dust here and here, which we'll get to after. And just a reminder, this door only works in 1.16 and higher, and there's no target blocks because, well, target block is bad. So, so to do this clip, remove this. We're gonna get some rails and a chest cart. Roll this down, and then place the cart, and then break it. So, if you're doing this in survival mode, you're gonna realize that it might be quite difficult, but I will show you that it's not that hard. So let me just show you how you do this in survival mode. So I might fail this, but if you're in survival mode, you get your 2 minecart chests. You're gonna roll this one down, and then you're gonna break. So you're gonna see that the rail is breaking. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna try to time it, I guess, with a pickaxe. So you can get like a pick, like a, let's say, gold pickaxe with efficiency 5, and an anvil. And then what you can do is like that, and you're gonna see that the rail pretty much broke next to instantly because this is efficiency 5 and gold pickaxe, so the rail just broke instantly, and you're gonna see that the rail just went poof. So yeah, it's possible in survival to do this clip, and you can see I just picked up the rail. Now this extends, so to prevent that, we just remove the torch, push it in, and then place the torch back. Now it does move the cart about 1 centimeter this way and then back, but it has no difference because this dropper blocks it as well as this one. So you can see it doesn't make a difference. So now comes this. So there's gonna be there's gonna be dust here and here. I don't remember what actually gave this on. Now I'm dumb. Under here there's a soul sand. And there is a redstone block there. Like this. And during the because of 1.16, this dust is locking this hopper. Now, if you're under 1.16, you can just do this, which is very simple fix. And I think that's the only 1.16 feature in the whole door, which is kind of sad, but well, I'll get to another one that might be a possibility. I'm not too sure. So during the opening, when this closing, sorry, when you flick the lever and this dropper powers, puts the egg into this chest cart. Now, because this is locked, this will take a little while before it goes like this. So it just stays in here. And the reason why we don't just just add a hopper is because then the item will get sent through too fast, and then the bottom powers way, way, way too early. So I had a problem with that some other designs where I tried shoving like probably almost like double the amount of minecarts into like the smallest little area, trying to get like I think it was like 17, maybe 20 ticks of delay just to get to the bottom. which is just incredibly annoying, and I just gave up and I just decided to do this. So, yeah. Now I made a mistake here with this card. This is actually going to be a repeater on 4. So we're going to have to change this up a little bit. So to do this, remove this hopper, remove this, get your powered rails, make this a 4 tick, and then you're going to get a fence, a rail, and just, you're going to roll it in, and then drop it down like this. So you can see it's inside of this, because when it falls, there's like 2 parts of a minecart. One I call like, well, one I'm just going to call the base. And the base, when you're pushing it towards the repeater, not away, is more over the rail, allowing you to, allowing for it to clip down. But if you push in the opposite direction, the base will not be over the rail. Instead, just a little bit of it will be over, and that's just not enough. So, in this case, I think it's about half the base, maybe, sits over the rail, and it clips down. And then because part of the hitbox of the cart is inside the hopper, when you break the rail afterwards, the cart will sink down until it hits one of the internal hitboxes of the hopper, which is 1 at every 8th. So it just sits there. And then do the same thing as before. Place the sticky piston in, 0 ticket, and then place the storage. So you can see it does not make a difference whatsoever. And place this back. So let's get actually into this thing. So this is just a little setup for how to do it, because I don't memorize this, and I didn't bother to memorize this because it's just so complicated. So I decided just to make a guide on how to do it. And this is just a test that I did for practice, and this actually works. So yeah, it's a very annoying thing, and just from referencing this thing alone probably took me 5 to 10 minutes to do, but I'll try to do it as fast as possible. So this is actually the main reason why this door is semi-directional, meaning that it's just easier to build in one direction than another, but it's still the same volume. So maybe in the description, maybe I'll add a different version of the door facing in a different direction. So yeah, and that's just because of how the minecarts are. So basically, these minecarts are all pushed into the side of each other. So the dimensions of a minecart is 0.7 in height, 0.98 in length, and 1 block in length. So when we're using the 1 block length like this, the minecart's kind of just like, I'll show you. If we place one here and one here, you're going to see that they move. So using the 0.98 length part of the cart, they won't move each other, and that's why it's what I would call semi-directional, meaning that it's directional, but it can still be built. I guess it's just a dumb saying that I came up with. So we basically get from this hopper, which is this one here, which is locked from this, because the item will get released at the right time, and it will go into this chest, which push into this, push into this, push into this, push into this, all the way down to this hopper. And then you might realize that there's a dog in here. So when we do this, you're going to see it goes into there. And in the door as well, there's this hopper. And you might be thinking that this hopper cart will suck from this, and it actually does not. You'll see that if I just use world edit, and the reason why I'm using world edit is because you can't place this hopper normally. You have to do something different with this minecart to be able to do this. So I'm just going to do this. You'll see that if I just do this, it does get sucked out down here. But I think it's just bad placement of the cart. Yeah, I think it's just bad placement of the cart. Yeah. So if you just do something like for example, if this hopper is sorry, if this is facing this is facing the wrong direction. if this is facing this way into a dropper, I'm not sure if this is locational or not, but this will always go into this dropper, because as you saw before, when you place the item in here, it doesn't get sucked out. Now, the reason why it did before is, I don't know why, but you can see that the reason why it didn't get sucked out is because it was pointing downwards, and the hitbox, when it's pointing downwards, is bigger. So this cannot reach this because the hitbox. So if it was facing downwards, this would suck out. So when there's eggs in here, it will just not constantly suck out. Hopefully that makes sense. So now let's actually get to building. So I'm going to keep referencing this thing here while we build this, and we're going to go from left to right. And that's why this is a soul sand. So let's start with the first one. So remove this, and we're just going to remove, well, let's just say everything in here, including a majority of these pistons. Like so. So the first step we need to do, according to my guide, is to get an end rod height for a a hopper cart. So we place an end rod here. We're gonna place our first cart in this thing with here. We're gonna then get a fence here, and then we're gonna push it across and remove this dust. And then remove this, and then get a soul sand. And then we're just gonna zero tick that into there. So the reason why this is a soul sand is not an end rod there is because we have a one tick here, and this is a soul sand because it needs to be a solid block. So what's really good about soul sand is that it is a solid block that is not a perfect 1x1 size. So you can see that I'm at 187.875, but it's a solid block, which is really cool. And the reason why this Minecart is just not falling through is because same thing with the hopper like I mentioned before. Every soul sand has internal hitboxes at 1 in every 8th height inside the block. So this is currently sitting at, I think this is 6 or 5/8. Yeah, 5/8 of a block inside of it. So the next thing we're going to do is place this on top of this block. This is probably the simplest cart in the whole door. Well, not the whole door, this stack. So that's just the simple one. The next one is where the dog and the endermite come in. So we need to place a boat here, but we also need, so we have two carts that are utilizing the boat. One needs to sit on top of the boat, but one needs to sit on top of a dog that's inside the boat. And the reason why the endermite is used is because, you'll see in a second. So we're going to place our boat there. We need to get an endermite and a wolf. Now, it's probably much easier to get the wolf first, because you can just go to a taiga and just tame a wolf. Like this. And then when you get an endermite, okay, try to make it purl, like really, try to purl really close to the thing. So push it inside, and it's important that the endermite goes in first. Now, you gotta push your dog in quickly and do the carts quickly, because the endermite will despawn, I think after like 2 minutes or something like that, maybe. So you push your dog into the boat, and then you need to push him inside the actual door. So you're gonna realize that the endermite, okay, and the dog are in the same boat. You can see the endermite's in the driver's seat, and the dog is in the passenger. Now, because endermites, I picked the endermite for a reason, is that it will despawn after a while, which means it just makes it easier to get rid of. But two, it also is so small that this hopper cart will not sit on top of the end, like whatever mob is in there. It will actually just sit on the boat. So we can see that it's just sitting on top of the boat. So at this point, we just have to wait like 2 minutes for the endermite to despawn. Or another way you can do this is using 2 instant damage 2 potions. Which will you saw nothing. And the dog is now moved position. So you can see that the dog has moved to the center of the boat. and this minecart now sits on top of the boat. Now the reason why we couldn't just do it without the endermite is because it's just really hard just to get the correct positioning of this minecart while the dog is inside of it. There's probably a better way, but yeah. So the next minecart we can do goes on top of the dog. So rip dog. And then we're going to push this across like so. So you're going to see that when we do this, the item is now in there. So the next set of minecarts, according to my what's it called, guide, is that we need 3 snow layers for the next cart. So the next cart sits inside a soul sand that is like where this cart is. So the first thing we need to do is place a soul sand or just any block, 3 snow layers. It's important that it's 3 because we need the height of 0.25 blocks, which I believe in this case is 2/8. I think of soul sand. So we're going to roll this into a fence. And the reason why we do that is so that when we push the cart across, it doesn't break the snow if we just were to just drop it. So then we can do this. Then we can push it in. Like so. And next, for this particular minecart, we're just going to take a soul sand and 0 tick it in. And then you can remove this. So then you're going to see that this sits inside the soul sand. And then the next minecart is at end rod height. And you're going to see that we're going to need another soul sand, obviously. So end rod is 5/8. So we're going to have an end rod there. We're going to have this. And then we're going to have that. And then we're going to push this soul sand in, like this. Now, technically, the reason why earlier during the item list where I said you only need 7, but you might need 8, is because this hopper cart here, this middle one, can just sit inside of the soul sand, but I didn't realize that until now. So, yeah, it just can't be bothered to do it. But, yeah. So the next minecart after this one is just a regular block. So we're going to get a block there. We're going to push this across. And then what we're going to do is actually push this block in, because this is the block it's actually going to sit on, because the next block is going to be a soul sand again. So the next block is a soul sand, and this next one is going to be really annoying to do. So get 2 repeaters. You'll probably need these repeaters for later, for different parts of circuits, so you can just utilize these. You're going to place a fence here. You're going to roll a furnace cart in, like so. Then you're going to push it all the way across, so this is why we need 2 repeaters. And the same reason with the 2 snow layers before, the reason why we can't just put the repeater here and push it across, because it'll break the repeater. And also, this minecart's in the way currently. And then what we can do is just push this in, like so. And remove this. But keep this repeater here for now. So the way we do the next cart is like this. We're going to get a furnace cart, and then we're going to get a cobblestone wall, because we need to push it across so it sits on top of this. So you power this, then we drop it down, and then we're going to do that again, but I'm just going to do it up here. So we're going to get not chest cart, a hopper cart. We're going to get a cobblestone wall, and then this piston there, push into that, and then drop it down. And then down here, we're going to have a piston, and then we're going to push this. Technically, this as well. Yeah. So now, if we, last but not least, we need to push this soul sand in, like that, using 0. And then you can see that it stays above there. And then when we put an item inside that hopper, it goes inside of this dropper. Perfect. So let's continue with the second last hopper cart, or main cart of the stack. So the next is we need to remove this. So with my guide here, after this, we need to do a slab. So we're gonna do something quite similar. We're gonna have place a what's it called, furnace cart there. We're gonna remove this for now. That's gonna bud and go into that, and then we're just gonna push the soul sander right away. And this cart, and then under here we can place our comparator back, and then 2 observers, and then our soul sand with our dust. Okay, so that gets that one in, and then continuing off of that, we're going to drop. We're gonna do something like this. We're actually just gonna use some powered rails here, and then we're just gonna throw this like that. And you could probably use the same lever from here just to power those, or just a redstone block or something like that. So now, finally, to get this hopper card in, what we're going to do is remove this hopper. We're going to place this, and then we're going to push this across. And then we can place the dust, place this, and then you're going to see that it goes into this dropper, like that. And just for now, place a comparator here. Now, I realized one thing about this. We're going to have to redo this minecart here, but that won't be that much of a problem. And then last but not least, we have the final minecart in this stack. We're going to get our end rod again. We're going to remove this, this, and this. We're going to get a hopper cart like this. Place this. And then to do this minecart in particular, we're going to have 0 ticket in, but we're gonna do this, and then because this got moved out, we can just place it back. Now that's dirt, but that's fine. So now that this is there, now the reason why earlier I said that we have to kind of we have to use wall edit to remove that, is that this hopper cart actually faces down. Not hopper cart, hopper. So take the cobweb that we're going to use for later, make this face down. So this is just a block that you can place inside entities, and it's a block that you can place inside entities that allows you to place blocks on top. So get a soul sand here, and then we're just going to roll a chest minecart in. That's a soul sand, so it actually drops down like this. And then what we can do is push using that redstone block, and then push in this direction like this, like that. And then we have to redo this minecart here, so let's do that quickly. We can actually place that dust back. So get this, and then we're gonna place this here. Now we're gonna need our Forza computer back. And then drop it down. Place our dust. Place our piston back by removing this. Place this to extend it, and then that should be this entire stack completed. Now let me just check when I'm still recording. Yeah, okay. Just making sure. So next, well, not next, but if we place an item inside that dropper, then we flick this, and we just power this, you're going to see that the item is now in there, and then this will get powered, releasing it, and then you'll see it's now in there. Perfect. And then let's... Okay, so that gets probably, I would say, the hardest part in the door, but you might realize that we're still missing one thing. Oh my god. I'm a genius. I'm a certified NASA scientist. Okay, good thing that was quite easy to fix. And then you can see that it's not required. This also is not required, but just still keep it anyway. Okay, so to test this, okay, so make sure all your dust is here. Now, to test if there's actually a dust under here, remove this dust. So if this becomes a dot, like this, then you know there's no dust under there. But if it's just a line, it's good, and then you can visually see these. So if you want to actually put the dust under here, you break this block or push it in, depending on how it is, and just click on the block, and you place the dust there. Next, what we need to do is push these in, like this, and then we can place dust on all of these. And then, like I said before, to place dust, you can just place blocks there, aim on the blocks, and then it will let you place dust. And then to check if you have them there, you can just power this line. You can see that dust is powered. And then we need the last line above. So we need to push these two blocks in. But that's not too bad, because then we can just place dust all the way through there. And yeah, so that is all of this done. We can then place this. Now, because of the boat, we're gonna have to what's it called? Push sticky pistons in like this. Okay. So yeah, that does that, and we will continue with the input circuits once we get to the actual bottom, and we're probably like an hour in now. So yeah, let's actually build cyan. So cyan starts. Well, we can place this. Now I suggest that we place obsidian under here, or any movable block you like under there. So we're going to start off with a torch burnout. Torch. And so we're going to start off with torch burnout. And this torch burnout circuit was created by Bonopo. Yeah. So we're going to place a dust here. We're going to place this here. This will power this slab. Dust on a slab. And then it will bud power this with a note block here. And then remembering that repeater from later. And this actually does a surprising amount of the extension. So if we give this a 1 tick, you're going to see that it does a ton. So you're going to see that these don't actually power, and that is done by a different circuit on the top. But if they were to power, then it would set them up for the tape. But if we power this again, you're going to see that it does almost all the retraction, because we're actually missing this block. Because you can hear the note block powering. So if we do that again, you can see those power, but it derps because of this. Now, in a previous testing of the door, my idea was to just do something like this to power it, but then that would actually fail on the retraction. No, it wouldn't. Sorry. So we can just do something like this, which is actually what we do. And then we can retract it back up again, like so. And we're missing the pulse there, which is done by purple, which actually happens on the which actually happens during the extension. So that's the main circuit of cyan, but there's still a little bit more we have to do before we can continue with the top. So the top, I would say, is about like 75% done. So let's add or remove 4 blocks back. This stuff is gonna derp. But we need to get our baby zombie pigman circuit in, aka powering this piston. Now, what we actually need is a hopper pointing into this block, 3 droppers like this. I believe it's like that. No, sorry. This hopper is for later. We actually do something like this. We have this dropper, which goes into, well, we have 2 hoppers like this. And then what we're going to do is place a hopper there. So this is the circuit. Now, it's not fully completed because we have to actually control it, which comes from the burnout, which is a 1 tick, a 4 tick, and a 1 tick. Yes. And if you're smart, you'll realize that this circuit is just a constant on output from the torch. So the torch will spam this 1 tick. It'll keep this 4 tick constantly on. Sorry, sticky keys. And it'll keep this one constantly on, as you can see there. And it makes it so this acts as a T flip-flop. So on the extension, we want this to power, but on the retraction we don't. So this acts as a T flip-flop. So what happens is the item will move. So the item at the beginning will be in here. The item will move from here into this dropper, which got powered from this dust. So it will get powered from this 1 tick. And then when it goes back into here, it will get powered from this 4 tick, then this 1 tick, moving the item back into the reset state. Now I say it was in here because when this powers again, it gives us more delay because we have to wait for the 4 tick to turn on. This 4 tick powers this, then this spamming will power it, moving it back and continuing the circuit. So it actually goes in this dropper. Now, to get the babies on piglin in, we're gonna actually, do that first. So we're gonna get a flower pot here. We're gonna get, I think it was a fence? I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was a fence or something. No, sorry. It was a cobble wall. Yes, cobble wall. So the flower pot actually goes under there. We're gonna roll in a baby zombie pigman and a minecart. So we're gonna do this guy. Now, getting this guy, you can probably get from like a gold farm or just random in the nether. But if you do something like this, what the hell is the TPS? Holy crap. And then you drop him down. And then you place a soul sand inside of this block. Which is like the only spot where you can kind of support them without having entities in this area to hold them up. Like boats and stuff. So now he just sits like this. And then to actually do the clip, so we're gonna get a fence here, a chest minecart, but before we push it across, actually sorry, we're gonna roll this across and get a sticky piston, and then we're gonna 0 tick it like this. This moves it over by just a little bit. You saw it move over. It's like just above 1 centimeter. So when we drop it down, you'll see that this will put the item inside here because it's floated, but you can also still place blocks here. Now, the only reason why it's like this is because of redstone squid rules. and according to the rules, if an entity is outside of the door frame, it counts as volume. So in this case, it's not outside the door because I can still place blocks here, but it still works. So yeah, now we're gonna actually build this part purple, which says the retraction, where we have a toggle here. Now it powering this piston is not a problem. So here, and this is actually where we need that iron trapdoor, because it is, I believe, the only transparent pushable block besides a fence gate, or that when pushed in, it won't like suffocate a mob. Now I think a fence gate would cause some issues with the minecart, I'm not too sure, but that would do that. And then remove this, placing this here. Now the only, and I said earlier that there might be another 1.16 issue. This dust powering this dropper, while this is redirected from this. Now normally this dust would power this dropper, but I don't know if this causes any differences. But otherwise, this is the only 1.16 thing in the door, and I can't be bothered to get around fixing it because it's just so annoying. So yeah, so this does this, and I realized that nope, never mind. I thought we had to place a comparator on that. So what we're going to do is zero tick this in. Now the reason why it was pushed into a cobblestone wall is if we hit F3 and B, and I go into game mode 3, you'll see that the, let me slow down my character, you'll see that the baby zombie piglin, okay, we can't really see it because the minecart, but there's, here, I can show you this. I'll just grab a pig man, a baby one. You don't see it because of Lunar Client, because that's what I'm using at the moment. But there's technically, let's see if I can find it in here. Oh, no, sorry, E. There's a red line that goes around the mob's head, and if that mob's red line comes into contact with a solid block, it will start to suffocate. Goodbye. In this case, it does not come into contact with this block, therefore he will not suffocate. And that's why this block here is transparent, because that will guarantee to suffocate him. And then if we place this with a comparator, this is where we get the octa from, and then this. So if we place an item inside here, we remove this, and then we give this a 1 tick. You'll see that we get another 1 tick from this circuit. And if we power it again to retract during the opening, you'll see that this does not power. We can power it again. You'll see you get powered again. Now, you could technically place a carpet on top of this note block to prevent sound, but I'm not going to do that. And then on the opening, well, it didn't retract the blocks, but you get the idea. It works. So that's actually cyan. Cyan's actually completed. This is the entire cyan circuit, this chunk that we just built. Now, the final circuit of the entire top is purple, and the tape control for the bottom and for pink. And this circuit is pretty PogChamp. So, place your movable blocks back. Remove this torch. And yeah, now before I do that, I'm just going to explain how this circuit works. The burnout basically powering this constantly and this. So basically, if I was going to do a small replica of how this works, it will basically 1 tick this. How did I break that? What? It will 1 tick this and this at the same time. Then with delay, power this piston from this piston here. And then with the observer powering this. Then these things would be derping. So this would then go like that. then this would go, basically, it does something like this all the way to the top. And there's no retraction at this point, because that's done by purple. So it's a very simple circuit. And it gets a lot of the work done, which normally would take a lot of moves if you made this with no burnouts. Okay, so to do this, we're gonna rip out all of this. And this is the final drop loop of the door. Because, yeah, there's no other big dropper loops like this. So, we're going to have a dropper here, a dropper there. Then we're going to have a hopper there. And next, we're going to have, I think it's two, no, sorry. We're going to have this, and then that. And then, yeah, so that's that. So we're going to get this minecart in first. We can just roll it in for the fence. Like that. Next we can do this cart. So we're going to, we should actually remove that. We should remove this one tick. Remember, you can do this in survival mode. Now this one's actually kind of annoying because this hopper's in the way. I'll just redo it. And then place your one tick back here. Place this cyan block back once we roll this in. And then get our lever like that. So you can see that this cart, this is facing the wrong way. Crap. Okay, so you can use the same cobweb trick again, where you can just do this. You can use torches as well, I think. Yep. Remember to place dust there and there. Fence. And then like that. Let me quickly check. Yep. And now that we actually have these hoppers in, we can actually do the thing that triggers the first burnout. So to do that, remove this block. So we can create a setup like this. Remove this block, push this back in, and push this back in. And that just makes it more efficient. Now I'm just going to check if any items landed in there. Yep. So, let's just turn hitboxes off. So this, when you flip the lever, because this is a falling edge, not powering on the closing, the item's moving from here. Okay, it will lock this, powering the burnout. And then when all the items move back here, this will take a while to turn off, but this is already powered because of the falling edge. So the final carts of the top, besides this, is a small little clip where you can get from a hopper to here. So we get a flower pot there with a floated hopper cart like that. Make this a soul sand, and this is a soul sand because it's solid and it could hold the flower pot. What's it called? The hitbox, which is because okay, so this is at 3/8, 0.375, and flower pots can just be broken like that, and then you can place the dust, and it's solid so that you can bud this one. Now to get the final cart, what we're gonna do is something quite cool. We're gonna do this, keep this powered, remove this, and this, push this across into this here, and drop it down, and then place this back here with a torch, and then to prevent the thing from powering, just remove this dust by taking a piston like that. Actually, no, sorry. A piston there, a trapdoor. This is just a mistake I did. So this just breaks the dust. And then remove this and this. So then when we do this, it doesn't power any pistons. And then this. If you place the dust, then you just do what I did. And then you can place this back. So that should be the entire top done, besides a few things. There's one item there. We need 5 purple items, specifically 5, because the burnout will send a ton of these items. Now, before we actually do this, we have to place our torch back. So, to do this, do I still have the thing blocked? I do not. So, keep this blocked. Place the torch back, dirt. Then place this in there. And then place the item back in there. Keep this there for now. So what will happen here is that this will power this to move down, and then we're actually missing this torch burnout in this spot, which does the final retraction from the blocks being where these crying obsidian are. And the reason why there's 5 items is that this needs to get a very long pulse. So yeah. Now, to continue, we're going to place this and then this. This creates the T flip-flop for the powering of the tape. So we're going to have this. Actually, put there. Place the observer down. Repeater here. And then we're going to have, purple there. And then a pink block here. So the way that this works is, so I explained everything on the top. So the way that this item loop works is quite simple. The items are in here, getting constantly spammed by the burnout, putting them into this chest, going into this hopper, going to this chest, going through all of these into this. Now they're going to start stacking up in here, giving an extremely long pulse to this piston as they return through these carts back into here. Because we can't just put a hopper here because this needs to be an observer. And this is just the only way to do it. So, yeah, so the items are now in here. This stays extended. It will start doing a burnout. So that's why there's derping on the openings. The blocks, so the pistons are like this. It will go down, back up, time, down, back up, time. And that's just because of the 5 item delay, which just makes it work. Now, I think it could be 2 or 3 items, so I think that failed, but don't test it. And when this, I'm just going to remove that. So you're going to see this will go down for a period of time, back up. Now, obviously, this didn't power because of why. I think it's because of the burnout, butting it. I think it was just poor timing. So just let the burnout go, and then you're going to see that so as it pushes down, it still buds it, and then it goes into this position of powering. Then as it retracts, it's no longer powering it. Then when it goes back up, it updating will cause this to bud, and you can see this retracts. This then goes up, back down. This will retract, powering this repeater, powering this block, which powers the tape. Then, by the end of the tape, from over here, which is with this toggle, powering the trap, or powering that line, giving another 1 tick for the burnout, this will go again. So you'll see that this is going to go, but the timing makes it so it works. This goes down, powering this dropper here. Actually, it's this one. Because on the opening, when there's an egg inside of this dropper here, when there's an egg inside this dropper, it will put into here and then get doing that. And that will happen from the yellow tape, which happens pretty much from the time the blocks get to here on the extension. So yeah. Now we're missing 2 more things. Well, technically 3 in the top. We're missing the chickens, which we'll do last. we're missing the item, the cart, not item, the carts into here, and then we're missing the powering of this dropper and the carts to the bottom. So yeah, we're approaching the 2 hour mark now, like as I predicted. So yeah, so let's do the carts into here. So we're gonna remove this, and that's it. So the first cart is a hopper minecart, and that is going to be pushed into a fence like this. So the way we do this is we just roll this into the fence, then we push it over like this, and this just makes it really easy so we don't have to move stuff. We can place the piston back as well as this with a dust. So the next cart we have is a hopper minecart. So we're just going to drop a hopper minecart down like that. The next is a furnace minecart. So the reason why it's not a hopper minecart, it's a furnace. It just saves, like it's technically unnecessary because it will just suck from this. So we're just saving unnecessary minecarts. We're just dummy minecarts for furnace ones. And now that we're in this state, we're gonna push these two in like this. We're gonna push these two in like this. Now if we actually put the obsidian, this would dirt. So the next minecart is a furnace, right about there. We're gonna push this in. Then we're gonna do another furnace, right here. Then we'll push this in. And last but not least, a chest minecart here. So when we power this on the opening, you'll see that the item will go through all of this into here. And then when this powers on the opening, when there's an item in there and this powers on the opening, it'll go through here and then do the yellow tape. And the egg only gets sent on the opening because this, when you flip this off, this torch turns off, on basically empowering this. So only when you unflick it, it will then send through here. And because this is on the toggle, this goes up like this, powering pink tape, then it gets pushed back down at the end of the retraction, then powering the yellow tape when the blocks are already down here. Hopefully that made sense. So that is almost the last thing. We have one more thing left, which is getting to the bottom. So to do that, we require the witch. Now the witch is annoying. So we need to get... So the reason why we need a witch is because we need to power this dropper. Now the only way that this dropper can get powered is from being a bud from here. Now, it can't do that because, well, there's no way to update it other than this, but this is outside the door. And this just pushing down regularly does not update the dropper, because this will then push down, then one tick after powers this. If the observer powered instantly, it would power this, but it doesn't. So the way we do that is we just utilize a witch having a very strange hitbox that sticks out from underneath. So when we push the witch's head down, it will power this pressure plate, which will then power this, sending the item to the bottom for the closing. And the reason why it's a witch is because the observer being pushed down, remember what I said about the red line with the pigment, it will hit the red line of the witch, causing it to suffocate, and then over time it will regenerate, which is pretty pog. So it's basically an infinite mob that gets suffocated. It's the only mob that has this property, where it can just regenerate, like, without AI. Like, with AI, almost. Yeah. So, to do this, we're going to have to remove some stuff, obviously. So, we need to do the witch first. Now, I don't remember what the witch is actually pushed into. I think the the witch pushed into a chest or something. I don't remember. Yeah, I think it is. The witch is pushed into a chest or a cobblestone wall or something like that. No, I don't remember. So remove this, and this. Now this pressure plate powering this will power this armor stand, but it does not matter because the armor stand would have already fallen from before the pink tape even powers. Is this plate powers from the extension, and because of this delay here and this delay over here, the armor stand would have already fallen down before the pink powers. So to do this, what we're going to do is design a little system like this. So we can get a witch and a cart. Place the witch here. We're going to roll it. It's going to pick him up. Now, you can see that he just dies like that. So to do this, so the reason why it just dies like that is that we basically have to place it and then break it really quickly. So that he just hangs on the end of the block like this. Now, I think we can counteract. I'm not sure how many pixels that looks very small compared to. No, it's the same distance. Okay. So now that he's like this, we can actually place our stuff back, but we can't yet because we need to roll a minecart into the witch's legs because it needs to sit on top of this hopper but not power the pressure plate, and the witch's legs just happen to be thin enough to do that. But we can't just remove this observer because then the witch will fall. So what we can do to fix that is get a trapdoor, flip it up, so then it holds the end of this minecart, so then we can just do that. Get a dummy block, and then roll a chest minecart into the witch's legs. And you'll see that it stays on top of that. We can place our dust back. We can place our observer back. And you can see this retracted. And you can see that this does no longer... Crap. Okay, I'm back. So, I actually got it to work. It should have worked for you if you just pushed into the witch's legs. So, when this pushes down, you'll see that if we just put an item inside of here, it doesn't matter, because this will just do it. And you'll see that it's in here. Now, this minecart is technically not needed, but it just makes it more reliable. Because, yeah. Now, there's one issue in that sometimes if you didn't have this minecart, the item would just fall onto the pressure plate, and it would just do stuff, and it wouldn't go through. So this minecart just makes it reliable. So, yeah. We'll continue off of that afterwards, but that should be the whole top once we get the chickens in. So, let's do this chicken first, because this one's easier. Okay, chicken. No. Let's get an axe. Eliminated. Let's get a chicken and a minecart. Place here. That. So now he's in there. He'll start laying eggs. Now to do this one, what you should do. Okay. Now, if you're doing this in survival, I have no clue how you're gonna get chickens in here, but you will just find a way eventually. But the way I like to do chickens, in this case, okay, is I hold seeds in my offhand, and I spawn 24 chickens in here, because that's the maximum amount you can do. So I realized one thing, you can't just do it like that, you have to get ready with a 0-tick slider. So, 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Flip this, and there you go. Well, these guys got away, but that's perfectly fine. If you didn't accidentally mess up like that, then it wouldn't have mattered. Now, you, on the other hand, need to go down as well as you. So, go down, because you caused me tons of trouble. I'm going to pick this up. Okay. So, these guys will start laying eggs, and I'm filling these up eventually. But, for now, for testing, just going to put egg in a stack of eggs in each of these. Sorry about that. Not slime, I need lime. And then in this hopper timer, you're going to place 2.5 stacks of items. Like that. So this should be the entire top. Don't test it, because it might fail for you. Well, for me, sorry. So if mine succeeds or fails, you should wait. So if mine succeeds, you can test, but if mine fails, then I need to find the issue. So, let's check for items, 5 in there, 1 in there, top is good, tape is correct, there's a pie in there, there's a torch burner comparator. Everything seems to be good. Let me check if that creator is good. Yep. So, don't test. And you'll see that there's now an item inside this dropper because of the locking with this hopper here. And the witch was powering this on the first extension, but the item just wasn't in here yet. So you see that dirt goes around. Also, I want to say one more thing. Thank you to Giga for rotating this observer so it will no longer face down to fix the issue with this piston failing. And you'll see that it does that. You'll see that the comparator is now on, and then this will then get pushed up from the bottom. Okay, so there's this cooldown, which I'll just speed up by just doing this. And then the opening. See, now, because yellow tape isn't quite set up, we're just going to remove the egg from here. But just to prove that it works, we'll just do this. Just to prove that it works. So the egg will just get launched out into my inventory. So you can see the top is now going. And this then goes up. And then you saw the egg go out. That would technically be the, what's it called? The tape, yellow tape. So the yellow tape's going. Well, this does its cooldown, so I'm just going to speed this up for you. So you don't have to wait any names. And then this thing goes down. You'll see that the pigment toggle kicks in. That comparator powered. This got moved up because of the hay bale. With this, tape is moving because of the breach detections. The composter powering this comparator. We'll see right about now. So it actually misses the first pulse. It's actually the second pulse, so this coming off is what retracts it. Because the first one doesn't matter because these are moving when that happens, which is pretty cool. So that retracts. It ends the tape. So it goes all the way up, and now you'll actually get to see this retraction work. And there you go. So you can see that is the entire top. So now that we've finished, I would say the hard part of the door with this, which shouldn't actually take too long, honestly, we can now get to the bottom, which is incredibly less complicated than this. So let's get to the bottom. So we need to actually do the closing for the bottom, but first, before we do that, we need to actually build the system that's going to do that. So to do that, we're going to get some observers and some pistons. we're going to place a piston here, and we're just going to roll this for now. Place observers all the way across here, and then this piston here, like that. And then we're going to place observers here, and then just for purposes, well, I actually forgot to mention this. If you want to silence your droppers, you need a bunch of dummy items. I'm just using shovels. Now, these are not needed. Don't get scared because I forgot to mention unstackable items. But, yeah. In particular, this dropper needs to be facing downwards. These need to all be facing across towards this dropper, because this is actually part of a dropper loop, which sorts the egg from this into here, and then place droppers here, and then this. So this is a little worm. This worm thing was created by David John, which is the thing that's used in all end by end piston doors. So all the flying machine doors. It's a really cool system. So the way that this works is that this will get extended for a period of time. You'll see here. So let's get a fence, an iron pressure plate, a cobweb, a rail, and then a furnace cart. We'll roll this in like that. I'll do this. That. So the way that this works is that this extending will power this, which will update this, powering this observer that's here, powering this, basically clocking. And then on this side, we have this with a hopper facing downwards, and this. It could technically be this, but this makes it so that it actually works. The gray tape actually has enough room. So basically, it would be a ton of butting and stuff, and it gets us way to the top. So the way I'm going to actually show this off, I'm going to have a copy and paste thing here, so that I can reset it. So when we power this, you'll see that it clocks and it goes all the way up to the top, and it's pretty fast. Now it's going to derp a little bit, but it will go down, and then for me to reset it. So to power that, that's the next step, which involves a bunch of minecarts. So yeah. Let's do this. So I'll start with a dropper, a cauldron, a bucket. Now the reason why I have a bucket is because of, so we actually need 2 cauldrons. This one's going to be used for the closing. This one will be used for later. There'll be this. Just place this for now. Make sure it actually faces into that cauldron. Into that cauldron, please. And then that. And then we're going to place a comparator here. This gives a pulse into this, because normally when you have a dropper point, like a hopper or something like that, pointing downwards like this, the comparator does not take an output. So we just do this because item goes in here, this extends, updating this, putting it into that cauldron, and that could be lava cauldron 1.17. So the way we power that comes from this hopper. So let's start with, I believe that's a chest marker. Let me check. Yep. So we'll start from under here. We'll place a copper minecart here. We'll place a chest, not a chest, a furnace minecart. Like that. And then what we need to do is kind of roll in a chest minecart. If I was intelligent out of actually realizing this. It's actually on this block. So we drop all that down like this. And then we can do this. This will go like this. So note block like that. So this gets the signal downwards for now. We still need to actually get another minecart, which I kind of forgot to do. So to do that, we're gonna do that. We're going to get a fence. I'll just redo it. Sorry about that. Okay, get a fence. Get a hopper minecart. Push these two in. Oh, that's gonna be really annoying. I'll replace that after. Here, I can just fix that just by doing something like this. On top of here, we're gonna have this. And we'll roll like that. And then we're going to do this. Sorry about background noise. That's like really loud. So I'm just gonna talk as loud as I can so you don't have to hear it. I have returned from the world outside of Minecraft. So yes, continuing from this, we need to let me check one thing. I don't know if there's a cart under here. No, there's not. So so from under this cart, we need to get to that hopper. And the way we're going to do that is like this. So we're going to place a dropper here. We're going to place 2 hoppers here, like that. And then we're just going to do a stack. So we're going to do a, I don't remember the order of these minecarts. I think the bottom one's the furnace. Nope, the bottom one is a furnace. So right here, we're going to place a minecart. I'm going to place a minecart there. And you'll see why in a second. We will get a hopper minecart. Then a furnace one. And then a hopper cart. So we're just going to place a block there. Like that. And place this, dust. And then we're going to do this. So if, well, the closing is going to power if I test this, but if we just put an item in there, you'll see that the closing powers. So this is a very simple cart stack. Item gets put into here, to this, to here, sucks, go through here, down to the stack, and then you'll see that the item is inside of this cauldron unless it got launched out. Nope. So that's the closing on the bottom. Like that. Yeah. So the reason why we need this furnace minecart is because we have to build this part of gray tape. So we have a gray stained glass there. We're going to have an observer. So this needs to be an observer. This needs to be an observer. And this needs to be a pushed in observer. like this. And then we have a sticky piston here with an observer here. Facing this way. Like that. And then we need an oak fence or any type of fence there, or just a solid block in general there. But I'm just going to use a fence because that looks better. And then on this side, we're going to place a dropper and then this. So when a block comes into here, it will change the shape of this, extending this to here, grabbing it, unchanging the shape, retracting it, powering this, powering this. What? It's not even facing the right way. Yeah, pasted it the wrong way. Should be facing inwards. Like that. So if we do that again, you can see it does that, and then that. And this works for observers and pistons as well. So now that this entire corner is done, besides this, which we'll get to last, so this should do the entire closing plus yellow tape. Now, we're just going to place this. So to test this, don't test it because it might fail for you, obviously. So let's flip this. So you're going to see closing this no power. Tape is going to go on the top. So the reason why there's no top closing is because technically the the point / sextuple is actually the closing. So the top is the closing itself. So the entire, if I was going to do a circuit separation, and I was just going to do the closing for the door, you'd have the giant card stack plus the entire top. Because the entire top is technically the closing and the opening. Does both. Because you can see at least the blocks here. And then you'll see that the witch powers is not there. And then you'll see that the bottom powers, the one goes up. And then we wait for the cooldown, so you can see the door's closed. We'll wait for the cooldown, and speed goes up. And then on the opening, there. So you'll see that there's now an egg in there. But you'll see that the toggle doesn't power it. And you might be thinking, can't this just be a chest minecart? It can't, because then when the item from here goes into here, when it goes back down, okay? So the item will be in here. When this extends, it will just go into here. But you might just think you just place a hopper here, but you can't, because when the item goes into here, okay, when the tape powers, and this retracts, it will power this too early. And you'll see that this gray tape, this yellow tape powers. And with the correct delay on the top here, it does the tape. So, and you'll see it ended. And the top goes right about now. And then the gray tape would go on the top, which will be the last circuit we need to build. So, yeah. Now you'll also notice one thing, that we need to sort this egg out, and that is why there's that at the bottom, that chunk of cards. But before we do that, we need to put gray tape. So we'll wait for the top to go. Before we put gray tape. So you can see there's the retraction. And you can see this toggles, but it doesn't do anything because there's no egg. Because it only gets sent on when you only unflip the lever. Like the exact second you unflip it. So let's get to gray tape. So the way that we detect, okay, gray tape is that you'll see, well, we can't just do it directly from this comparator because this comparator spams. The only way that we can do this is from this specific piston getting pushed down from here. So this piston will be here, and then it gets moved to here, to here, to here. So with some clever delay, we can pull it off. So we take an output like this, and then a sticky piston like this with a vortex facing downwards. So on the closing, this input will get powered. This piston gets powered 3 times because this will power 3 times, basically. Send 3 up to here. So it's going to go up to here, back down, and back up. You may think when it comes back down, it will power this vortex. It actually won't because the pulses are too fast. So the observer is just up, like this. And then when it gets pushed down from the yellow tape, this will retract, and you'll see we get an output through there. So this goes to here, this goes into this observer, and then we have to actually power the tape. So that gets the output, we just need to power it. So we have a vortex here, this here, and then this there. And then we have a gray. We have vortex repeater into here, which powers this gray. So this will power this piston and then this one with delay. And then what we'll do is we'll have a piston here with an observer, which will push up, powering that vortex starting the tape. This piston will be used to control the tape, and the way we get that is by doing something like that, which whenever this block moves or a block gets pushed in, this will retract up, powering the vortex continue. But when the observer gets pushed in, it will go up and then back down really quickly, because the observer itself moving will cause it to pulse, but then it updating will also cause it to pulse. Basically, up down acting like this thing where it doesn't pulse, which ends the tape. And then we need to send the items in here back into here, and the way we do that is like this. So these items go back in there. Now you realize I kept the egg in there, and that's because, well, we're down to the last part of the door, which is this chunk of entities that's going to go in there. As you can see there. So let's actually get started. So this is probably going to be really time consuming, in my opinion, because you know it's only like 7 minecarts. Well, really 6, because this is really easy. It will take a little bit to do. So let's start with getting the egg from here or here. Actually, it's from here. So we place a regular furnace cart here, and then we push into a fence, specifically a fence, and call it a minecart. Now, actually, quickly remove this, and then push this across. So if we get an egg and put it in there, you'll see it goes into there, but we can't have that. So what we actually do instead is you just move it over ever so slightly. But to do that, we need to actually push it in this direction. Because, like I said earlier, all the way up there, the base of the cart determines how the cart acts. So in this case, it will suck items from this dropper, like that, and not this one, because it's point. Nah, no, never mind. So, yeah. And next, we can just do, what's it called? Push this in, as well as this, and this in. So, we're gonna place sticky, 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 flick, 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 this, and then like that. So we don't want to continue yet, but before we continue, what we actually have to do is, well, you'll see now why we have all these droppers. Just remove all this as well. We need to fill all these droppers up with eggs. So fill this dropper with eggs, fill this one with eggs, fill this one with eggs. Forgot to mention that this also needs to be required in the item list. So, yeah. And then that, and then this. And then to fill this up, you can just fill this entire dropper up with eggs. Really, really quickly get sucked out. So this is going to take a little bit. It shouldn't, at least. There we go. So you can see that no more eggs are going through. Therefore, that. So if we place one singular egg in there, if we power this dropper, which will recycle it, and then this one, and 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 before we power that one, what we'll do is get a comparator here without these in here. You'll see when I power this, it gets recycled and filtered back. So that. Nice. So all is left is we need to get from this dropper to this hopper, and that's it. Now, this is actually normally very simple, but there's always a but. We have two droppers here, which makes everything insanely difficult. Well, not difficult, just annoying. So let's remove this, this, and this. We need to get our hopper minecart, but this hopper minecart needs to be placed in a very specific way. So what we need to actually do is we need to have it like this, pushed into an anvil, and then pushed on top of that rail. Like that. And that is because we will be pushing minecarts into them. Into this, and this one here. We will be pushing, yes, grammar. Move this. We will be pushing carts to prevent it from moving. So flick this and this. That chest is falling to the ground, just get rid of all of it. It's fine, doesn't matter. And then we'll get a sticky piston back in here with its observer there. Now, before we actually do this observer, we need to fix this. So let's grab this. I'm gonna roll this in. I'm gonna get a cobweb, and then iron pressure plate. There. Now this piston and this piston both will move this minecart. So to do that, to fix that, we do that, and then we push it in. But if you're smart, you'll realize that when there's an observer here, it will move this minecart. So to fix that, what we'll do is we will add another minecart like this. Sorry, like this. So when we place this in, it won't move it. Now we need to actually do the minecarts inside of these two droppers, and we can't just roll them in. I don't think we can. So you're gonna have two droppers like this. Just do it like this. We need to roll both of them in, push one to a certain distance in this direction, and this one, and then another one into this direction. But there's an issue. We can't just roll specifically this one into this direction. We can't just do that. So I'm actually going to remove all this before I put it back in. So we can't just roll it in, because when we're trying to push it over, that minecart, that specific minecart, it will hit this dropper. Therefore, we have to kind of do some stuff. So, to do this, we need to remove this and this. We need to get snow layers. So we need, I think it's 3 snow layers here. We need to roll both minecarts in. So we're going to roll this hopper minecart in. Like that, and then roll this furnace minecart in. Like this. Doesn't matter if they're like this or not. Now, let's get a cobblestone wall. Move this. Cobblestone wall. That. And then we're going to roll in a furnace cart, which will get pushed into this. And next what we need to do is get a path block. Like this. And send both up to this level here. Now this one... Let's do this again. So, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can I not do that? Okay. Roll this in, drop it, roll this in. Let's see. Just roll it in. I was trying to think about how this could work. If I was smart, I could push this across into a cobble wall. That would be great. Just place a dirt block there, dummy block there for now. This, and then do this, this, and then push that into there. And next, get our path blocks. Remember to keep that dummy block there. One, two. You're kidding me, right? Oh my god. Okay, I'm back. Finally got something that worked. 3 layers of snow. Make sure dummy block here. Do what I was doing at the very beginning. And make sure that this minecart is not all the way inside the block. So just as it's rolling, break the thing. There we go. So now what we have to do is get some soul sand and push these upwards. Remove this because this will sit on that. And remove this. We now have to do the rest of the minecarts that go under here. So this one needs to be a hopper minecart. This one, this one, you can't just place a rail. Is a clip one of the minecarts. Did it. make sure that this minecart, this hopper minecart, is inside the dropper at a specific point, which I can't tell you how to do, because you just gotta break the rail at the right time and push the path block and hope it works. Because this thing is driving me insane. So push this up with a soul sand. Place a hopper cart and a piston. And then don't place a rail like last time I did this under this block. Because I am a genius. This goes. Wow, it worked. And then we push this across like that. And then we do this block. I'm not even gonna risk that again because well, that's how you waste 20 minutes on a singular clip. Okay? Now, I realized that... Wait. I didn't realize anything. Okay. Okay, and then placed a chest minecart there. Place observers here, 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 here. Move all those for now. Fill that up. Let me make sure that there's have enough eggs. Yep. Check all these. Like that. Let's do this. The orange. Let's place this in. God damn it. And then place these two in. It's gonna send some eggs through, but it's fine. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill this entire thing up with eggs. It'll take a while. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna load that up. We're just gonna fill this completely up with eggs. And then fill the rest up. Finally finished building 7x7 from LCL. Now don't test it because it might fail for you. I hope this does not fail because this thing took 20 minutes for no reason whatsoever. And I'm going to quickly paste in this thing like so. This should be down, not up. That'd be very bad. So yeah, let's hope this is the end. Don't test it because it could fail. But yeah. So this is the closing. Now, the way we actually get rid of this egg is because when this compared powers, it sends one into this, and then this spamming will just send one egg. You'll see. So when this spams and there's 15 right here, you'll see that this will just get left out during the closing like that. And that just gets rid of it. And the reason why this minecart is here is to block this one from moving over and killing the stack. So yeah. So this drop gets powered from this comparator. Hopper fills it, cart fills it, cart fills it, cart fills it. This cart fills it. This one. Then there'd be 15. So it'd be 16, 16, and then it'd be a 15. Then when the closing goes, this will go. This will make it a 16, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15. This becomes a 15. This fills it, makes it a 16. This makes it, well, the hopper in there makes this a 16, becomes this a 15, making this a 16. Like that. And when I'm saying 15, that means 15 eggs in a singular slot. Crap. Okay, I thought I broke it with the hopper timer, but it seems to work. Now, if this door ends up working, which I think it will, let me just make sure it didn't fail. Yeah, it didn't. Okay, so if this door works, which I think it will, thanks for watching. This will probably be coming out either very, very later at the time of posting this on Saturday, the 15th of November, but it might come out tomorrow on the 14th because of how much I have to cut out stuff. Now, this is probably a 3-hour video, probably, like I estimated, maybe 2.5 hours. So, yeah, if you made it to the end, congratulations. And to prove that you made it to the end, say 7x7 FMLCL in the comments, because I put 3 hours into this for fun. So yeah, hopefully you learned stuff about the Minecart placements in the store. And how useful mobs are. So like the Endermite and the dog, the chickens, the pigmen, and the witch. In the description, there will be the stuff you need to position minecarts. So yeah, also in the description, I'm gonna add a ton of boots and shovels to silence droppers. So that's the entire door. So you can see that finishes it off. So yeah, that is the entire door completed. Hopefully you enjoyed this extremely long video. It's the longest video on my channel. And I will be now taking a break from doing redstone for a little bit after my brain needs to cool off from this. So yeah, more builds will be on the way. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this extremely long tutorial. And enjoy your new 7x7 door. That's incredibly pointless, so bye.